Ladies and gentlemen, wow, how does this sound for you? Oh, that's because I've got a feet thing, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so loud. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Cafe Gallery right here at Gallery Cabaret. Right, it's really weird because I sound like I'm echoing like a crazy lady here because I normally don't have speakers going right back into my face. Hi, we've got two phenomenal features this evening. I love it. Love it when Michael Hogue is out here for the performance. Yeah! For Michael Hogue! I just recently published a story of his in the CCND magazine. And I don't happen to have that issue with me, but he's awesome. And I couldn't possibly publish what this next feature actually before. So please give it up for our folk artist, musician, Dallas Malice. Give it up for Dallas Malice! Fun times. I was going to start, actually, because it is a new release for magazines, because I happen to be a magazine publisher as well, Scars Publications, Scars.tv online, blah, blah, blah. I'm advertising to myself. This really echoes for me. Is it echoing with you? Because I can't tell, because I'm like in this chamber here. No, I mean, you guys can hear me all cool. I'm just like hearing myself echoing back at myself, and I'm like, that's crazy, man. Dallas is like, check this out. Well, don't worry about you. It's all back there, but I'm like, I'm in an echo chamber, freaking me out. No, it's just that it's because these speakers are right. No, it's fine, darling. It's just, I'm not used to having speakers telling me what I'm saying right back in my face while I'm saying stuff. And you are the best, Tressa. Tressa is the best. And give it up. Hey, and I think what we need to do is give it up for Gallery Cabaret. We have to do it for this great place. Come on. Great prices. And I love the fact that they let us hang out here. That makes them officially cool. But the new issues of CCND and Down to the Dirt magazine are out, and that is why I'm holding Down to the Dirt magazine right in my hand. It is released as a perfect bound ISBN book every 2 months, and that's why it has a name, and that's what's called a rural story, because if you're going to have cars in a junkyard, they might as well be Studebakers, which is what the cover is on this one. But I thought I would just come up with a couple from different people. I don't know if I need applause after them or not. And you'll have to tell me if this music is okay. This music I've got in the background is from the Dead Man soundtrack. What is he doing? You get a list. This is from the Dead Man soundtrack. Neil Young, I think, did music for it. And it's just this constant running background music. Is that an okay volume for you guys? Because I haven't checked this out. Awesome, thank you. This first piece from the current issue is from David Hutt, and it's called Excavation. I used to believe in Hemingway's words that life is mechanical opposition, and liquor is the only mechanical relief. Now I'm not so sure. I opened a bottle of whiskey and raised it to the sky, pointing it to some god I have never believed in, and I lowered it back down to a world I have never had much faith in. Thank you. I'm just picking short pieces. This is by A. Lenkite. This is Fjord Jumper. The rain falls in an impersonal way. The sun doesn't scar me so much as it blinds me. I wish I could feel the depth of your breath, slow, uncaring earth. Easy come, easy go. Bury me someday as if I'm your past or your secret. I'm going to do this longer one, just because it was on the same page, by Liam Spencer. This is called Thin Line. You see how long it is? It's really short, but this is called Thin Line by Liam Spencer. He looked down the whole time, first at the ashtray outside the bar, gathering butts, even those with just one drag left. When offered a cigarette, he looked at it only too embarrassed to meet the eye of the offerer. Humiliated with the offer of a $5 bill, yet with no one around, and the encouragement of, "I've been there," he looked up and smiled with a face of hope, and with his shopping cart home in the distance. What a thin line it really is. Come on up here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Hello. Sorry, that's my thing I say. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. And we've got, like, you know, the lineup so you can judge anybody who's up here, which is really awesome for the people on stage, I have to tell you. I think I'm going to do that, be like, I'm judging whoever's up here. This last one is from the recent issue of Down in the Dirt magazine. It is issue 126, available through Scars Publications. It's called A Rural Story. I've got direct links to the printer. You can also get it through Amazon.com in the United States as well as in the UK and continental Europe. I like saying that because it sounds really awesome. This is a poem from Ronald Charles Epstein, and it's called Musical Interludes. Again, disparity divides the genders. Women expect the orchestra as men aspire to be Gene Krupa pounding out the solos. And this is my awesome background music. I'm going to fit it out. That makes it loud. Well, I don't know which way. It's backwards on the thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm going to probably have to talk about magazine stuff all night, a month, or all the night long, because we just only got 2 episodes left and people are just pouring in, and I really, really want to hear what Joffre Stewart has to say. So please, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Joffre, our first overlooker. And I'm going to cue this up so that it doesn't sound like... I have no idea. Sorry. Thank you, I get a copy. Awesome. And if you need to adjust whatever you need.
I'll do 3, 2 of them mine. The first, from the War Crimes Times, the very last issue. And the poet here kind of does a collage over a photograph he took. He imposes some words by Longfellow. Longfellow is not known for free verse, but Hasty puts him in free verse. No title. If we could read the secret history of our enemies, we should find in each man's life sorrow and suffering enough to disarm all hostilities. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. The next one is the one you have. How to write a pre-Pearl Harbor Day poem. The epigraph is from Sherman Skolnick, who was reported murdered by Mossad 8 years ago last May. Report from anonymous source. New York City firemen, there were bombs in the building. Cyberspaceorbit.com. Crucial info evidence. Explosives toppled WTC. I remember 11 calendar days before a president who hired conscientious objector as ghost writer didn't have a ghost of a chance in Dallas, and 7 years before I was born, with the name of the Catalan, maneuvering the western fronting of that first great war for Israel, that in that American Indian Awareness Month, as we remember it today, the 11th was a day my father was no longer obligated to pass the ammunition aimed easterly in the direction of Hitler, by this time being hypno-programmed for that second great war for Israel, and for which my father was resolved to refuse. That man who addressed him with, "My friends," and conspired 9/11ly to make watery grave for some of them on the Arizona. My father was resolved to make that day good by not going at it again. But so many were lacking his resolve that Armistice Day became Veterans Day, also a day for JFK, until he was put out of the way to make more veterans in the urgency of Rothschild to control the money splurged 5 days later on the assassination of a gay activist in San Francisco. So I can no longer write this pre-Pearl Harbor poem with a Thanksgiving week for JFK and have no idea who did it to me. I have to milk the season differently with the confession of E. Howard Hunt that he, like Nixon, was in Dallas to make history. His deathbed confession, delayed by Nixon, bringing down United Airlines Flight 553 at Midway Airport to do his Mrs., giving her story, their story, to Michelle Clark, survivor of racist scene in Cicero, but whose bullet holes were disguised by CBS burning their employee's body before the parents could have it. A plane with 11 connected to Watergate, December 8. Dick Gregory was late for takeoff. I have a feeling this poem has no closure. I'll close with this title. After distributing 34 leaflets the day after. And so the holiday Joy to the World season arrives with burnt out shops in occupied Ferguson, cited as the sainted city for 3 more tax-paid for deaths since Brown was burned by police action that charged 1 black every 28 hours. And angry protesters, crowded by bicycle cops, only seem to get glad response from black doormen on the magnificent Imaginary Mile, where 7 p.m. crowds seem to be sweat shopping in an alternate universe. Not too different from the Channel 7, Channel 2 news truck people who do not roll down their window to take my piece for peace. Trailing cop bashers, I fight litter, by picking up a piece of cast-down RSCP literature that ignores Chicago as an underreporting Vietnam days and advocates the politics and jail use that anarchs condemn. All this while an alleged black president, the select elect of expansionist Jerusalem, shows a presence anywhere but Ferguson, leading no protest march in Ferguson, admonishing looters about law and orders, while wrapping up Third World wrecking NATO behind the Confederate flag in Nazified crowds in Chernobyl country, where over 900 have died right through Armistice Day since ceasefire. Deadly, like the peace talks that kill Palestinians by the goodwill always lacking in the Zionist project.
Taking his ass there on day one, they told somebody. That's right.
To this day,
Should've went there and made a stand.
To this day, I still wait whenever he says that quote, "There were bombs in the building," which I sampled in something, but because I was wanting Dan Weinberg to be next, and he's not going to be here next, which means I'm going to call him Gerry Pendergast. I thought I would read the last two poems I will ever read from the 2013 calendar. Don't forget it. Which a bunch of short poems in it, and I thought that I just, because I want to get this stuff out for you guys. This one is actually for this week. This is from a David S. Pointer, and it's called Diesel Punk Pathway. I feel like I need my background music, but I won't do it. This is Diesel Punk Pathway by David S. Pointer. The Comanche code talker read his granddaughter's public library verse stack, noting all the encrypted language and other evasions separating one class of people from the next. Now he understands his grandson's punk rock band converting vacuous rooms into sonic stompathons for gateway greed behavior. I'm going to do this last one because it's a nice, great end of the year one, which is why it's at the end of the year. This is from Mel Waldman. This is called After Death. After death dissolves, it's over, and nothing's left, only snow for miles. Mel Waldman. Publications, and the new one is coming out, and you will hear things from that very, very shortly. But in the meantime, please give it up for Gerry Pendergast.
Good evening. I have some seasonal stuff for you.
Yay!
This date in American history, December 3rd, 1980. 3 nuns and a legal worker who loved the terrain of the country called the Savior because there were roses in December, raped and shot at point-blank range, country where Archbishop Romero was assassinated the previous March. This country's government was a favorite charity of my government. I saw Roses in December, the laywoman's biography. Hungry, homeless from a war children, enjoying food. The war continued. The money from us, A people, flowed. But the women's primary language, skin color, and place of birth brought the name El Salvador closer to front pages. Heard more often on radio and television, in classrooms, churches, union halls, and streets. December 3rd, 2014, a white cop who choked a black cigarette peddler in NYC. He didn't have a license. Not indicted. I wonder, is that man who feeds homeless people in Florida back in jail again? Thank you. And of course, for those of you who know your Chicago history, tomorrow is a very infamous day in Chicago history, December 4th, 1969. This is called Chicago Street Names, Historical Names, and the Black and Green Connection. Monroe, 5th President of the United States, ran dinner, lunch, and breakfast seminars for rich white guys. Wrote up a doctrine still used as an excuse to call Latin America and the Caribbean islands our backyard. A street in Chicago running east and west, 2300 block, the scene of an assassination in 1969. One man aged 22, another 21. Clark, a street in Chicago that was once a shoreline, runs north and south. Later, a Potawatomi Trail, primarily a commercial street. Mark Clark, assassinated with Fred Hampton. Officers in the Black Panther Party, Illinois, helped some gangs negotiate truces. Ran a breakfast program for hungry kids. Assessed as a threat to our nation from an FBI office. Tom Clark planned the Easter Rising with Padre Pierce in Dublin in 1916, captured and killed by the British Army. Hugh O'Neill, Irish chieftain, led uprisings against British rule. William O'Neill, FBI informant, laced Fred Hampton's dinner drink with barbiturates on the night of the assassination. Hampton Court, street running north and south close to Lincoln Park, has new luxury apartments on its 2700 block. Edward Hanrahan, Illinois State's Attorney, indicted for raid that killed Hampton and Clark. No street in Chicago is named after him. Thank you. I also hope to see at least some of you at the Roots Room on Friday. That's at 5203 North Kimball, and at Reno.
52.
That's
Oh, this is very quiet. Could you shut the volume? I think the echo went down, but the volume, or I don't know. Does that sound okay, you guys?
Everything sounds really good.
She likes it, so we're awesome. Yay. So ask Gerry about Friday, which I don't know if I'll be able to make, but I know Monday I want to try to make it for this thing that I couldn't make the first time in November, which Patrick Hurley, our next up, and Mike will tell you all about. So please, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Patrick Hurley!
Yes, Monday, Reno. Reno's on the corner of Milwaukee and Kedzie, right across the street from the Blue Line stop. Very easy to get to.
Logan Square!
Logan Square, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, all ages. So if you know someone who is not able to read at bars but would like to get involved, please. That's sort of what it's there for, getting people involved. You don't have to read, you can sing. Dallas, you can come and sing. Yep.
Bring a guitar.
You can dance. You can do whatever you want.
Well, I thought I'd bring a cardboard box because you're suggesting. But
Oh, yeah. That's right. So if you want to know more information, talk to me after and friend me or whatever, and I'll make sure you're invited. So something I just finished. Morning Serenade. She rose on Sunday, that feeling of alone. In the distance, trains and planes rattling the windows calm. It's Sunday, she thought, still one day to go. Peeking out into the morning light, she watches the dull gray clouds take form over the expanse of concrete, steel, mortar, and brick. It's gonna be a cold one, another cold one, and the chill runs up her spine as the radiator hisses and pings its challenge to the frost on the window. She does not want to be here, this cold, lonely place, surrounded by millions, yet so alone. Through the wall, or floor, or ceiling, during moments of silence, she hears the soft sound of a muted horn. So warm and welcoming are the notes that tickle her ears. Maybe, she thinks, just maybe, it will be a good day. So do one from Janet's favorite title, Pull Tabs and Other Things to Stick Your Fingers Through. Can't remember if I've done this in a while, but anyway. First, there is waking up, realization of a new day, beauty or tragedy, not knowing. The sun is not shining yet. There is a bird on the ledge. First, there is coffee and more coffee with a chocolate chip scone. There is fog on the road this morning. More construction, always more construction. First, there is hearing sounds, indistinguishable sounds, then a brightness, then the outline of a face or shoulder or hip. It's raining on the road today. Windshield wipers are so inadequate. All is good if everyone keeps in their lane. Just keep in your lane until the rain subsides. First, there is a smile with sleepy eyes above hair shielding cheeks from sun, then the sensation of touch, fingertips soft on warm skin. Then there is holding, tight enough to remain through the day. Then there are cries of realization, weaning anxiety. Letting go is part of love. First, there is coffee with a blueberry scone and stoplights, stop signs, brake lights, heavy traffic, rushing, always rushing. The rain has stopped. There's a mist on the highway this morning. Toll booths, correct change and exit ramps. First, there is the scent of hair, followed by the scent of skin. There are legs entwined, palm flat on the small of a back. There is pulling closer and pulling closer still, readjusting bodies while readjusting lives. First, there is waking up. One more small one. Daisies. Twisting, turning, entangled strands enmassed, crammed into a glass. Sunshine surrounded by white. Extensions of life, reaching out for light, for life. Buds and blooms, fading daily to their death. Daisies. Thank you. And talk to me if you want more information about
Reno,
Ruffled
Monday.
Feathers. So the show is Ruffled Feathers at Reno.
And it is a round robin. You do it in circles, and it's really freaking awesome because I felt bad that I wasn't able to be there before. I want to introduce the next person, and I didn't even tell her that she was up next because I have a story about her middle name first. I've got a married Lucille Hays on this list, and she's never been here before, and I don't know how often she will come back. But I have to say a story about the middle name Lucille. My mother's name is Lucille, who passed away 8 years ago, and one grandson actually went to Florida to go to the service, and Joel was very saddened by losing his grandmother, and he asked if I had any photos of her, and he found a girl and he married her, Sabrina. She's really, really awesome. And in wedding presents I gave crocheted blankets from my mom, Lucille, and they decided as soon as Sabrina got pregnant, which she is due right at the end of the year this year, they're going to name their girl Lucille. Which makes me all gooey and stupid, which means I have to give a gooey, stupid, awesome intro for our upcoming. I want you guys to scream like freaking idiots like you wouldn't believe it, so please give it up for Mary Hays. Mary Lucille Hays, and yeah, it's a festival. I'm crazy talk. Eat that microphone too. Eat some mic.
Okay, I would like to read a poem that I wrote sort of on my cell phone when I was in Iowa City, and I went to the Prairie Lights bookstore, and my son at the same time, by coincidence, was in California, and I texted him and I said, "Are you at the City Lights bookstore? Because I'm at the Prairie Lights bookstore." And he said, "No, I didn't go there. I was going to go to the Beat Museum, but it was too expensive." And so I started texting this. Oh, and he does have to worry about money. He was working in a food truck, so that comes into the poem too. So it's called Dylan at the Beat Museum. I went to the Beat Museum, but they wanted $8 of my hard-earned money, $8 of my crack and eggs for the people on the sidewalk, $8 of slicing peppers and peeling onions in a truck inside another truck, $8 of my eyes weeping as I slice. $8, man. For $8, I could buy a roll of paper or a typewriter ribbon that would unroll my blood, sweat, and tears down Woody Guthrie's ribbon of highway in this my land of earth, wind, and fire all the way home. I stand with my hand out on the sidewalk, not asking for eggs or egg money or pin numbers, not asking for a lower tax rate or higher fences or to sanctify gay marriage or to marry a sanctimonious bastard, just asking for $8. Just asking to see some beats. I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for the Beat Museum today. Can I borrow $8, man? Woohoo! Okay, and then I would like to read a story. It's kind of short. It's part of a longer, see if I can find it. It's part of a longer piece called Goodnight, Dr. Chicago, but it's not done yet. And this is from book 1, and it starts with a little quote by Boris Pasternak. Everything was fermenting, growing, rising with the yeast of life. The joy of living, like a still wind, swept in a tidal wave indiscriminately through fields and towns, through walls and fences, through wood and flesh. And that's from Dr. Chicago. Lessons from the hippie house. The first lesson. The sesame has finished roasting when the 7th seed leaps from the pan. The afternoon light was fading. Maura was in her room lying on her futon studying for her botany class. Her arm was falling asleep from popping up her head, and she found that instead of reading, she was really thinking about getting up to turn on the light, but that her arm would do pins and needles as soon as she changed position. She didn't know how long her eyes had been sliding over the words, but while she thought about the fading light and her arm, but the last thing she remembered reading was the Krebs cycle, and now she was on a different page entirely. In fact, That's what made her regain consciousness, that she was in her room reading her botany book. She came to and found herself staring at a page of botanical prints of flowers, leaves, and seeds in the maple family, the Aceraceae. She looked closely at the flower of the red maple. In the detailed close-up view, the flower was mostly gangly stamens. Multiple flowers grew from the central points along twigs. Each flower had scaly petals or sepals, she wasn't sure which, and the drawing wasn't labeled. She studied the drawing for a time. She found she could connect so much more with the biology she could see, like the sexual parts of a flower. She could find the poetry in that. Studying about the chemistry on a cellular level was much harder. The Calvin cycle and the Krebs cycle just confused her. Suddenly, Jane was there, looking into Maura's room curiously. Jane's long hair was parted in the middle and loosely braided. Her braids were coming unraveled because she never liked to tie it up, and her hair was too straight and smooth to hold a braid. Jane never said this, but Maura always thought that Jane was making a political or artistic point about freedom, that even a ponytail holder was unnecessarily binding like a corset or high-heeled shoes. "Come on, Maura," said Jane, "we're going." "Going where?" asked Maura, but Jane had already turned and hurried out of the room, so Maura put down her book and followed. Jane walked out the door, but Maura paused in the yellow kitchen to find her Birkenstocks from the pile of shoes by the back step. Everyone was out in the yard. Well, not everyone, just J.R. and Sita. Albert and Michael were on the flat roof of the garage behind the house, helping Jane, who was standing on a kitchen chair trying to get a foothold on the edge of the windowsill. She reached for Albert's hand and then scrambled up to stand on top of the roof and look out over the neighborhood. "Hurry," said Jane urgently as Sita climbed onto the chair. "What are we doing?" asked Maura. J.R. looked at her and smiled indulgently. "Come, come, come," called Jane. Maura couldn't see her anymore, just hear her. Now Sita was up and Albert and Michael reached down for Maura. "Go on," said J.R., "I'll follow you." Maura reached but scuffed her knee on the siding as they pulled her up. At the top, the shingles dug into her knee again, and she was on the roof. Everyone was looking out over the alley. The sun was going down, and the clouds in the west were brilliantly lit as if shining from within. Shades of magenta and turquoise. Sita and Jane were hugging, looking out at the sky. J.R. scrambled up. Michael turned his face toward the sun and closed his eyes, and Albert smiled inside his big beard. Maura looked out over the scene. How odd to see the neighborhood from up on top of the roof. She was face to face with trees instead of being at their knees. She could see a knot in one high on its trunk, the exposed wood dark and rotten inside. In another, she saw an abandoned bird's nest. It held a little mound of snow like a scoop of ice cream. She could see down the alley behind the garage. Some pigeons were bobbing and strutting on the ground. A sparrow flew and pecked at some fallen seed. The alley made a channel all the way down the block, and in that channel they could see more of the sky. She wondered whose idea it was to see the sun set from on top of the garage roof. Looking out, they could see parts of the horizon and the low clouds all lit up and fiery. The sun itself was a little to the south of the alley. It was sinking over the edge of the house, a semicircle of fire orange. It was slipping down, down. Maura turned and faced the other direction. Looking east the other way, down the alley, she could see... Looking east the other way, down the alley, she could see more of the horizon, and the sky held a pink glow, the sunset reflecting even in the east. She turned a slow circle and saw the pink glow almost all the way around. She turned back west and felt the cold, gentle breeze brush across her face. Now the sun was slipping, slipping. She looked again at the tree, and this time she saw that the tips of the branches had tiny red buds. She suddenly knew that these trees, naked of any leaves, were maple, and suddenly she felt an electric connection with the trees, with the buds, with the birds who had flown from the empty nest. The buds were scarlet and velvety, and she imagined invisible spider webs all around her, from the bud to the birds, down on the ground in the alley, to each person up there on the roof, and then back again to the tree, and running through the knot in the tree, and down into the earth. And she saw that they were all connected, all of them, and all connected to the sun. Then she stopped imagining, and she knew that these connections were really there. She closed her eyes, and she could almost feel the invisible silken strands of sympathy, and felt that if she reached out her hand, she could pluck these strings and hear the music they made. And the sun slipped down, down, and down, just as it was about to disappear like liquid slowly sinking over the edge of the roof. Jane raised her hand and waved slowly, slowly. "Bye, sun," she was saying. "See you tomorrow." And then the sun was gone, and they were all hugging in the gathering dark. In a while, they clambered off the roof, still bubbling with the joy of being together and the secret knowledge that none of them could understand. They wandered into the kitchen, and someone began to pop corn in the wok. The warm smell of coconut oil melting and the friendly popping sound kept her in the circle for a while, but someone made a rough joke, and then Maura didn't want to stay. She couldn't go back to her studying either, so she stepped back into her shoes and quietly slipped out the door. She just wanted to be alone in the night and feel like she had felt up on the roof. Soon this purple enthusiasm would mortify her whenever she tried to put it in words, and then she forgot about it. But many years later, it would return, and she could step outside her kitchen and gaze at the horizon to hear that music again and feel the web of sympathy connecting not only the trees, the flowers, the chickens in her yard, but even the girl on the roof. She would close her eyes and strum a song of strength and courage and peace.
Oh. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I don't think that was loud enough. Give it up one more time. The wonderful name is Lucille. Give her a American. Awesome. I am really looking forward to calling up my next guy, because I just love saying his name. I just love hearing his voice. So please, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Eric Esten.
Some Christmas behind the corner nearby. Jessica. One of those lonely December nights, I found you crying, and your face was so wet as an other Indian summer light. And I didn't understand why. We are just expecting holidays time. Some after Ramadan, some before Hanukkah, but for me so close to Christmas, which I spent alone, perhaps. Stars burning in the sky, over my campfire dance. I'm like a abandoned moon lighting the land with Christmas tree lights. Lakota on the wounded knee path, your lives and mine. You are an adventurer of human nature and soul, which you probably and anybody have never found. Possessed one. So Jessica, just smile. If someone hurts you, try to ignore, to not, to show to anybody how vulnerable you are. Nirvana. Gray days, months and years, one after another passed, never to erode my soul, nor my vision or mind. Violently broken ocean cliff, the close of passing time, dismembering all in one to the far extent and its deep. And you, the comet falling right from the sky, burning the weeds within the territory of mine. Along the passing time, enabling me to sense the flowers, the meadow, and its grass, the feeling and so much awaited touch, telling me how chosen, how lucky I am. Because of you, I can touch the bloom of love again. So comforting state, my flourishing nirvana, my dreams in which I intend to stay. The summer is gone. The summer is gone. On the trees abandoned, from the ringing grays stayed alone. The summer is gone. Only the yellow, brown, and red wrinkled leaves dancing on the winds, falling off to mourn. The summer and its dreams left the empty branches stripped down even from the tears, confused and their own. The birds in the air, leaving behind forests, meadows and plains, moving forward, not far away to the nest. Now is my time to move on, to leave behind everything so loved, however, couldn't be mine. I'm telling you farewell as a chirping bird from afar. Thank you.
Thank you. My darling. Thank you very much. I have no idea about height things, but hopefully the next guy that's going to come up here with his guitar will be tall. So, is he not guitaring?
I can guitar if you really want me to.
Well, one of our two features is guitaring, and I always like guitar because I'm a dumb idiot girl or something. I don't know what that means. If you don't want a guitar, you don't have to. But why do you want me to bring it if you were going to use a guitar? Well, what's that all about?
I came from Mass. I was Mass for my grandfather who passed away.
Oh.
Not funeral Mass. It was a memorial Mass, like afterwards, after the fact that this hospital that he built. So I came from that, and I was coming from like basically the suburbs. So
you have no connection with it. Well,
I can play it. I mean, I do know how to play it.
This is why you
I don't
don't
just
want.
have
That
it.
doesn't mean.
I don't just have it.
Well, it's entirely up to you, my darling. But please, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Mr. Tom Schaffer. Woo! And there's a drink stand.
As always. I'm drinking wine tonight.
Well, that means
Very
you are
classy.
so upper class. So I heard this thing.
It's got a very earthy flavour, and well, I like it. You know.
I heard this thing on the radio of things talking about how to be gentlemanly to a woman. And they were like, flowers was one of them. And I'm like, how cliche is that crap? But the thing
Maps.
And the thing that I thought of as a guy, to be able to offer an arm for a girl to be able to hold, because that doesn't happen. I'm like trying, or bothering to dress up if you're actually going to go out.
Well, I mean, I do that.
Because you look awesome. Let's give it up for Tom Schaffer.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Men's. Hello. Alright, I got it now, you know.
Dudes.
This is a reading from the Gospel according to Tom. And no, I'm not that hoity-toity. I think it's a strike down. But anyways, there's no such thing as wasted time. A breath is a breath, and a nod is just a nod. The shake only a shake, and a nudge but a nudge, even if it's from your friend's elbow in the middle of the humorous part of the movie you're streaming off the internet for free. There is, however, waste. The heat escapes from your skin, and people and dreams die like potential. But there's plenty of it still. There is a universe waiting to explode inside everyone. I see it, and Whitman saw it too. It's just a question of, are you breathing? The mountains, wind, and buildings, they're all alive with vibrations and millions of big bangs gestating in their wombs. So if you're breathing, then nod. Shake and nudge your way through the crowd, and explode! Those that see you explode will follow, and they too will explode, until every light in every city is overtaken by the billions of big bangs, by the explosions, by the creations, by the people, by you, by me, and him, and her, and them.
That was perfect.
The crowd will grow smaller and smaller and smaller, and then the few that are left, who said that they could not create and could not possibly have a universe inside of them, and that they could not do it, notice the air quotes, do it, the few that are left will follow suit and explode. Arigato gozaimasu. Now, do you want me to guitar?
If you would like to, I would like it.
Play your guitar.
I'll sing a song.
Yeah, because we have two features this evening. One, a poetry from Michael Hove,
Yeah. And one of music. So we might as well have a little bit of music.
I'll do it without the guitar though.
What?
I'll sing it without the guitar.
Awesome. I don't know it, but you got it. So much. You're all awesome. You're like, it's less work for me if I just sing, right?
You know, is this stool safe to sit on?
Yeah. You'll have to ask the help.
Seems pretty sturdy.
Yeah.
My fat ass might break it though.
Stand on it, that'll test it.
I just want you to know, I just set up this camera and all I see is the top of your head right now, which is really fun.
That's I'm used to that.
No.
This is a song called The Cobbler. Gerry, you know this song. Oh, my name is Dick Darby, I'm a cobbler. I served at my time at old camp. Some call me an old agitator, but now I'm resolved to repent. With me ing-twing of an ing-thing of a night, oh. With me ing-twing of an ing-thing of a night, eh. With me roo-boo-boo, randy. And me lapstone keeps beating away. Now my father was hung for sheep stealing. Me mother was burned for a witch. Me sister's a dandy housekeeper. And I'm a mechanical switch. With me ing-twing of an ing-thing of a night, oh. With me ing-twing of an ing-thing of a night, eh. With me roo-boo-boo, randy. And me lapstone keeps beating away. Now it's 40 long years I have travelled, all by the contents of me pack. Me hammers, me awls and me pinchers, I carry them all on me back. With me ing-twing of an ing-thing of a night, oh. With me ing-twing of an ing-thing of a night, eh. With me roo-boo-boo, randy. And me lapstone keeps beating away. Now my wife, she is humpy, she's lumpy. My wife, she's the devil, she's cracked. And no matter what I may do with her, her tongue just goes clickety-clack. With ing-twing of an ing-thing of a night, oh. With me ing-twing of an ing-thing of a night, eh. With me roo-boo-boo, randy. And me lapstone keeps beating away. It was early one fine summer's morning, a little before it was day. I dipped her 3 times in the river, and I carelessly bade her good day. With me ing-twing of an ing-thing of a night, oh. With me ing-twing of an ing-thing of a night, eh. With me roo-boo-boo, randy. And me lapstone keeps beating away. Thank you.
You're awesome.
Thank you.
It's a very short ballad compared to Brennan on the Moor.
I can do Brennan on the Moor.
All 40 verses?
All 40 verses? I can't do 40 of them. I can do 5 of them.
Well, it was insanely awesome that you pulled that off. And thank you very much. Because I love being able to get music as well as poetry in this, because one of our features this evening is a musician as well. My little songstress is Triple Plus Awesome. And I hope that our last woman break of the evening is going to talk a lot about upcoming shows that she's got going on. So please, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Elizabeth Harper!
Did you just tell me to promote upcoming shows? Yes, there's so much coming up.
Please do.
Gosh, something's going on all the time. Anyhow, well, you've heard about Patrick's thing at Reno on Monday. But then there's the Wormwood Collective thing at Elbow Room on Tuesday. And then there's my show, Elizabeth's Crazy Little Thing, at Phyllis's Musical Inn, December 10, Wednesday. Gregorio Gomez is going to be the feature. And usually we have a theme, but the theme's going to be, we don't need no stinking theme for the holidays. And then Friday, December 12th, there's something going on at the Fine Arts Building that Robin Fine is organizing.
That was canceled.
It was canceled and nobody told me?
And nobody told me either, because I was going to read some things I was planning on doing for that after you were done at the end of the open mic, because she just said, no, by the way, it's canceled. I told people on Facebook, and I'm like, I didn't hear it, so that's what happened.
And if I hadn't said anything, I would have
So
shown
now
up
you know.
there. I would have prepared and shown up.
Well, now you know, and you can come in 2 weeks and do your performance that you would have done there here.
Okay, that's okay. Gosh, I wonder why she didn't.
But she is doing something in the spring
With like a sci-fi thing.
With a sci-fi thing.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Okay. Anyhow, I'll read some poems.
Yay!
Detritus exasperated love. Detritus exasperated love, too tired to fight about it, get it over and done. Forced to overcome lying pants fire, don't know her name or what transpired. I'm a little bit country, I'm a little bit rock and roll, I'm a little too old for this shit, I'm a little horny toad covered in mold. Play those records, baby, chew on some vinyl with your teeth. Don't let it get you down, baby, you can't control plagiarists and thieves. Doctor, my eyes are creasing and coming apart at the seams. They want to turn my brain inside out. They don't know what it all means. Don't remember why you left me. Don't remember why I came over that night. Juniper had me reeling, crawling on my hands and knees that cold and lonely, hard, heartbreaking night. The romance sellers are liars, frumpy, plotting doormats for life. Just when you think you've solved the puzzle, you realize you're fucked for the rest of your life. Every year, every week, every day, in your chest, a turning knife. Got to get away from bad poetry, slammers, jammers, rodeo clowns, pedantic, dramatic, colorblind, ants in their pants, mirrors in their pockets, drinks in their hands. I want to be Leopold to your Loeb. I want to be your valued slave and you can be my king. In a philosophical Nietzschean murder ring. We'll slay little boys and crack their skulls, plot and scheme and drink and drug. I don't care what the others think. You're a cool glass of water I'd like to drink. Some may say we need a shrink. I'll throw out all their rules in the kitchen sink. We don't need home or family or school, jobs or the glad suffering of fools. We do as we like and like what we do. I'll be a dutiful Leopold to the Loeb in you. I'll do this last one. It takes two, baby. Break my heart, break it in two. Leave me to rot, leave me to rue the day that you left me, to rue every time I made a mistake, to rue, the sound of my own heartbreak. Leave me as you found me, only a little bit changed, only a personality a little bit rearranged. Leave me to be forgotten by you and, oh, legions more. Leave me, leave me, leave me. Will I be lost or found evermore? Bristle as you hear me, as at the sounding of a gun. Bristle at the thought of arguments you haven't won. Mourn for tomorrow when I'll be gone. Remember the faults of others, of your own. Remember, remember, remember. It takes two to make a mess of a love outgrown. Thanks.
When I said she was supposed to promote stuff, I thought she would promote more of her own show. And I probably should have said, oh, wait a minute. Speaking of shows, she's just taken up the September 30th, 2015 show, so she will actually be a feature here on one of the late nights. Yeah, give it up for our 9 to 11, get it up late time. She'll be like, I'm going to do a feature, and then we're going to have to run. I don't know if it's the same week as your own open mic. If it is. Oh, so you'll be safe and you'll be awesome because you got the last one this nice and late, so you're all good. I was going to finish with, as we had discussed, the Fine Arts Theater thing is closed. Because I was like, really, Robin? It's not going on? I was setting up a bunch of haikus to be able to read. She's like, oh no, it's closed, but there's something going on for sci-fi, Shy-Con or something, which I might be a part of, I'm not sure. But I thought that I would try to do some of the haikus, because that was my plan, to read haikus. It doesn't need applause between them or not, unless you think they're really awesome, but want to applaud. I'm going to put the same background music in the background, but this is just a bunch of haikus. Some of them you may have heard from other people reading at my feature in June. I don't know, but I hope you enjoy before we have our features. It's amazing how much of your life you can fit in a single suitcase. You work harder than men for less pay, so keep up the good work, ladies. For better or for worse, but all you're giving me is worse, and I just can't see it getting better. After trapping them for years, they now have me trapped. Now they're predators. Trapped, she felt a chill like a goose walked over a grave. She chokes with this touch. Like all lambs to the slaughter, I'll always guide them to their destiny. Left with you there, I watched us become blood-thirsty animals. I never really liked you, but now I can't get you out of my head. I'm the predator, with no blaze, no defenses. I'm blindfolded. Now I've lost my way. I took a wrong turn in life. How do I save me? Nothing can be pure when you destroy purity. My choice is silence. I figured I would end with a haiku that Michael Hoke happened to read at my feature in June. My choice. And I'm holding this precious bag here because I look like I'm trolling. But I'm collecting for actually 2 features because this bag is supposed to put your life savings in for a feature. What do I have for Michael? I'm going to put stuff. Yeah, but that's not enough. Wait, no, wait. That's not enough. We got to put stuff in. Wait. I got stuff for Dallas Mail, so I'm going to put some. Because we're supposed to have stuff for 2 great features this evening. I'm going to toss this toward you because you're closest. Oh, and that sucked, and I'll carry that to you later. And John's like, I'll get that because she can't throw because she's a girl. Or, I don't know.
Yeah, girls.
Caught in a draft, I don't know.
Caught in a draft, yeah.
But I have one open micer that wanted to come before like a 2-minute break, and if I can see a Gerry, is there a Gerry in the house? Please, I love it when he shows up. Please get over Gerry Reynolds. Gerry, come on, very early.
I made a promise to myself to never repeat the same poem in the same place. And yet this one has an exception. It is the night before Christmas. Not A Visit by St. Nicholas, written by Ambrose Bierce, that included visions of sugar plums. This is Gerry Reynolds, Night Before Christmas. Get me home by Christmas. I told the road that night when winter threw a storm my way and everything was white. The icy patches looked the same as places that were not. I slowly drove. I cursed a bit. I also prayed a lot. I fishtailed nearly half the way when somehow through the snow I saw the shape of something like a car that wouldn't go. I found I was mistaken as I veered off to the right, where I landed in a snowdrift of at least a foot in height. The wheels just went in circles when I tried to back it out, so I gently put the car in first to find another route. Again, the car just stayed there. I wept into the horn because I knew I'd never find a tow this hour on Christmas morn. I climbed outside to clear a path and try to get it going, but the north wind blew it all right back and the sky just kept on snowing. My hands froze around the shovel when the tinkling of a bell made me turn my head in wonder, and I knew that all was well. It was Santa and some other elves, the reindeer in the sleigh. They pointed at me for the team to turn and come my way. It took them but a moment to hitch me to the pack and drag me for a mile or so to get me back on track. And while the others loosed the reins, St. Nick called out to me to say that he had something that he wanted me to see. Well, at my home, much earlier on this his busiest night, he found a note requesting him to help me if he might. You see, the folks at home were worrying and looking out for me, which would make the finest present under any Christmas tree. Happy holidays, everybody.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you. I think you did.
Where's that bag? I want to contribute.
I don't know, find the bag. But I said thank you, sir, and I think you said thank you, sir, back to me. Which I don't think he meant. Look online, www.catholicarts.org/cafe for the Cafe Gallery. But what I wanted to really share with you before we have singer-songwriter night, because we had a feature that was a musician, was a woman that's coming up for singer-songwriter night. Maybe she can do a double plus performance. So please, Amanda, if you're ready, get on up here for Amanda Costner. Yeah! That's the beauty of this open mic, because we like to be like the Anna say, you always laugh at that, because we like to keep an eye on everyone, so we try to record everything. I don't know if you need that for anything, or what do you need?
Well, I was just going to raise it because I'm going to stand, if that's cool.
That's awesome. Do whatever you need to do, but I was just giving a warning to everybody out there that we try to record everything so that this open mic could be a future podcast at the Cafe Gallery, which means that you're a part of that too now, woman. Ha ha ha. And she might be up for later on this evening, so one more time for Amanda. Woo! Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
You can turn.
Hello everybody. I'm going to do a couple of songs. I'm a comedic songstress. I usually perform at various tiny bars or theaters. So I'm like really excited to do some songs for you guys.
Yay!
I recently started dating somebody.
I'm sorry, we went to do ourselves.
But, so I recently started dating somebody, so I'm a psycho now. This first song is called Paranoid. so good at these games. It's hard to live like this, paranoid about everything. It's been 5 minutes since you've texted me back, but you went through. Wait, come back, can I move in with you? I don't know how to react to everything you do. So my plan of attack is to terrify you. Do you want to buy a puppy together? Do you want to go to Europe together on our honeymoon? Girl's Facebook wall, I'll start a blog about you. If you ever lie to me, I'll buy Facebook ads and promote bad pictures of you. Paranoid, yeah. Need a distraction from you, so I watch too much on Order SVU. And I'm still paranoid about what I mean to you. Am I a fuck buddy? Are you in it for my money? Cause I still buy my groceries at Aldi. Are you gonna break my heart? Promise me we'll never be apart. I wanna be permanently glued to your skin. I'm gonna need a list of everyone you fucked. They tell me I'm better than them at doing it. Just tell me, what can I do to make you fall in love with me? On some other girl, I'll put a hit out on her. If this isn't gonna work, then tell me now, so I can fuck someone else first. Paranoid, yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you. I didn't really ask you how much time I had or how many songs I should do.
Well, usually with the open mic we say 3 minutes. Poems are 5 minutes, but so you're going way over. So how are we? Is there a singer-songwriter guy here? Yeah. So we should call on that, and you should be up for singer-songwriter night. So I'm gonna end it up on the poetry